This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Coming up on Sunrise, April showers are supposed to bring May flowers, but this week, April showers bring snow to the area, and Rod says we could see a repeat of yesterday morning snowfall here again in the next 24 hours.
Holy cow!
Plus.
We were there for the pandemic, we're there during the snow days, we're there regardless of what's going on. And
workers at the Portland Audubon Society didn't take a snow day yesterday. They had animals to help. Coming up this morning, their efforts to reach wildlife.
Speaking of wildlife, Brenda, look at this. Jeff Hoffman with the Pacific Northwest Reptile and Exotic Animal Show back in our studios this morning. May I take your friend, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
May I take your friend for a walk? We have snakes in the studio.
Woo!
We have snakes at the big desk.
Who is this?
This is Rod.
Whoever it is.
Our weather guy. Oh,
No,
this?
I know who this is.
Sticking his tongue out.
Yes, he is.
We will have more previews
Wow.
of the Pacific Northwest Reptile and Exotic Animal Show that is coming up here next weekend. But Rod, I believe there are other things to talk about this morning.
Oh, surely there are. Let's get to the radar. Hi, everybody. Still this ridiculously cold and, as it turns out, somewhat historic April weather pattern gripping us. Snow levels are generally about 1,000 feet. See that bright orange dot south of Tillamook down getting, well, it's still in Tillamook County, it looks like. They've had some lightning this morning. So there's a chance of hearing a rumble of thunder today. Snow levels near 1,000 feet. Radar is showing its snow showers over the West Hills right now. Sandy's had some snow. We're at 39. Generally, everybody's above freezing up and down the flats of the I-5 corridor, so no icy spots there until you get up in elevation. We'll go mid-30s at the bus stop. Could be a passing snow shower with temps above freezing this morning in Portland. 41 at noon, that chance of a rumble of thunder. Rain showers in 46 later today. I like our chances of seeing snow on the ground again overnight tonight, and we'll talk more about that coming up shortly.
We will see you then, Rod. Thank you. We start this morning with developing news out of Salem. That's where officers shot and killed a man accused of stealing a car. This happened at 17th and Center in Northeast Salem. Investigators say 2 officers were processing that stolen car when one of the 2 men inside confronted them and got physical. That's when one of the officers shot the man. Both officers provided first aid until an ambulance could get to the scene, but the man died at the hospital. Officials have not released the man's name or the names of the 2 officers involved. Oregon State Police are now leading this investigation.
Yesterday's heavy, wet snowfall led to a lot of downed trees, and that wound up causing some big-time traffic problems all around the area. But we're going to start here with Highway 26. It is back open in both directions this morning, but yesterday was a different story. Shut down for nearly 7 hours, and the detour was an even bigger mess. So we saw downed trees near the Oregon Zoo, and that's really what led to 26 being closed in the first place. We spoke to one of the drivers who was stuck in all of this, Jesus Montez Gonzalez. He says he spent 6 hours in traffic yesterday, half of that time on Highway 26. Jesus told us he was rerouted to Skyline Boulevard, but he and dozens of other drivers were blocked by fallen trees there, and he wound up getting stuck in the snow.
Kind of scary, and it was a little bit unusual, especially almost mid-April, and you get to see this, so nobody was prepared. I wasn't prepared with change or anything.
Yeah, stuck in the snow in the middle of April, right? It is crazy. And because of all the downed trees in the area, the Portland Bureau of Transportation says certain streets, including parts of Burnside, Skyline, and Germantown Road, could remain closed for several days. Meanwhile, in eastern Oregon, I-84 remains closed in both directions, starting around Pendleton all the way to the Idaho border. Multiple semi-trucks spun out and are blocking the lanes of 84 there. So there's really no estimate for reopening at this point. The best you can do is go to tripcheck.com for the latest closure information. And an update here on power outages. Thousands of PGE customers are still without power this morning. At last check, more than 9,000 customers are still affected by more than 700 outages, but that's actually a significant drop from the peak of more than 77,000 customers who were without power yesterday.
Well, all this snow is a welcome sight on Mount Hood. That is, if you could get up there. The ski resorts, including Meadows, got hit with lots of fresh powder. There's 27 inches at Timberline. Now, if you're headed up there, do expect winter driving conditions. A quick look at Trip Check and those traffic cameras tells you all you need to know. You may need a shovel to dig your vehicle out. The folks at Meadows say really just know your limits.
These are the type of conditions that we tell everybody. You ride with a buddy and you keep them in sight. The beginner terrain even has some powder on it. I was talking to some of our lift crews at the top of our Easy Rider lift. There's waist deep snow.
And that means Mount Hood Meadows will be able to operate until May 7th. Snowfall at Meadows was less than average heading into April, but all that changed with a single storm.
Well, usually when we talk about snow and freezing temperatures, we report on emergency warming shelters opening up their doors. But at least in Multnomah County, none were open last night. None were open on Sunday night. So last night on The Story, Pat Doris asked why.
I found out over the weekend Multnomah County did have one, maybe more people watching the weather and the forecast, but it was a very specific forecast at a very specific time. They looked at the forecast from only the National Weather Service and they looked Sunday morning. Now at that time it did not call for snow or temperatures below freezing at the valley floor. Later in the day the forecast changed and did call for snow.
As someone who's an outsider, why is it difficult to open that many shelter beds on short notice?
Well, you need a few hundred folks to come out and staff, 4 to 6 sites, right? And you got to get the word out to 211. You've got to get people in charge there. You've got to get the word out to folks to know that they can come to those sites. You've got to make sure the sites are staged. You've got to roll out mats. You've got to make sure there's food service. You've got to make sure folks can get in there. You've got to let TriMet know. There's a lot of steps to do that.
Yep, I do get it. But in my opinion, more should have been done last night. Every forecaster was calling for snow by early evening. Our meteorologist, Joe Ranieri, predicted 5 inches of snow in many areas, and he was right. Yes, it is an unusual storm, historic, and much later in the season than normal. But it reveals something about the emergency shelter structure. It reveals an organization that is lumbering and slow. We're living in a time of climate change. Extreme weather is here to stay. Demanding 12 hours lead time to open an emergency shelter is a concept that should be trashed now. That's my opinion. What's your take? Send me an email, thestory@kgw.com, or call and leave a voicemail, 503-226-5090.
Well, the snow canceled garbage and recycling pickup in Portland yesterday. The city bureau in charge of all that says residents may see delays all week long, even if their street is clear of snow. Officials recommend leaving your bins at the curb, and crews will come by just as soon as they can. If there is more winter weather on the way, pickup may happen on Saturday, with garbage taking priority over compost and recycling.
Some dedicated employees at Portland Audubon made sure the animals there that they stayed warm and that they were well fed. It was pretty impressive yesterday because that area where the shelter rests is up there in the hills of Northwest Portland. Staff showed this on Twitter, showing them hiking into work because trees and branches blocked the road to the center for the Audubon Society. So the nonprofit cares for injured and orphaned animals, of course, and the Wildlife Care Center manager says some of those animals need consistent care. Animals like baby hummingbirds that they say need to be fed every 30 minutes.
Right, we're there because we care about the animals and we want to see them succeed and be released back into the wild, and we can't just skip a day. We can't just not be there for them.
So we say hats off this morning to the workers. There were 3, as a matter of fact, who hiked in to care for those animals, 41 in all, and they say they spent much of the day yesterday up there at the center without any electricity.
Also in your headlines on this Tuesday morning, one man has died in a hit and run in Beaverton. The crash happened off Southwest Barrows Road near Progress Ridge. The driver initially left the scene but is now cooperating with police. Officers are investigating this as a possible DUI. They say the victim is a middle-aged man. They plan to release more information later this morning. The murder trial of romance novelist Nancy Crampton Brophy continued on Monday. Day 5 included testimony from the lead investigator on the case. It focused on surveillance footage near the Oregon Culinary Institute. That's where Brophy's husband Daniel was an instructor and where he was found murdered. The detective told the jury video showed a van in the area that looked like Brophy's. It was spotted twice the morning her husband was shot and killed. And Beaverton police are asking for help finding this missing 12-year-old. That's her photo. Her name is Victoria Hansen. Investigators say she was last seen around 7 o'clock last night, leaving her house near Southwest Murray Boulevard and Shoals Ferry Road. Police are concerned about Victoria's safety because she doesn't have any money with her and she doesn't have her phone. You're asked to call 911 if you see her. And those are some of your Tuesday morning headlines.
And I feel like one of the biggest headlines is what Rob was telling us in our morning meeting this morning at 3:45. What we saw yesterday morning, Mr. Hill says, could be coming back at us tomorrow morning.
I don't think there's as much moisture available, but absolutely I like our chances of seeing another dusting to an inch or two tomorrow morning. And for some spots, that would be exactly.
And we're talking down to the lowest elevations.
Yeah, the lowest elevation, all the way down to where I am. More where you stand, Mr. Carney. Hey, Brenda talked about the mountain snow just a bit ago. Look at the temperature. It's 17 degrees up there. It's pretty doggone cold for this time of the year. Look at the bases. 166. This is the most we've had on the mountain at any time this year. Timberline's base will go over 170 today with another foot of snow expected over the 24-hour period. And there are the 24-hour totals, 18, 16, 9, and 9. So it's just crazy how it is absolutely an active January up on the mountain in April, if you will. All right, here's the scattered radar. We talked earlier in the show that we have snow levels today that are generally going to sit right about 1,000 feet. So if that's true, most of the precip today in Sandy will be snow, not rain. Here's radar showing some snow over the elevations of the West Hills. And by the way, we've had rumbles of thunder today in Tillamook County already this morning. So there's the chance of hearing a rumble of thunder today. Temperatures from Eugene to Kelso to Salem are all above freezing, so not really looking for any icy spots down low to start your day. So that's good news. Here's radar. This does show, it'll be interesting to see if this is true. It shows some snow showers popping through Portland at 7:30 this morning. Temps would be above freezing, though, at low elevations. Otherwise, it's a scattered rain shower day with that chance of a rumble of thunder. Now, I want to get you real quick into overnight tonight. This is all snow, ladies and gentlemen. It came through Salem. Here it is in Portland at 5 a.m. There it is exiting at 8:30. There's some more snow tomorrow morning in Salem. The air mass temperatures that we look at to say, hey, that should be all snow, are just as cold tonight into tomorrow morning as they were yesterday morning when it was all snow. So we're watching that. Hey, jump to the weekend real quick because Sunday looks mostly sunny and 60 degrees. It was a great forecast until I got the day of the week wrong.
Details. Maybe you're throwing off your game a bit, Rob, because we have some guests in the studio this morning. Take a look at this. That is a baby Patagonia Mara. Now, the animal holding the baby Patagonia Mara is a man. He goes by the name of Jeff. Jeff is the Director of Operations for the Pacific Northwest Reptile and Exotic Animal Show. And we're going to have more details on the show and this Patagonia Mara. What the heck is this creature exactly? Those details right after this on Sunrise.